My name is Andrew Parsons. I'm the Minister of Industry, Energy and Technology for the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada. And I just want to tell you now, there's a clock here looking at me. It's playing down. So the good news is I will end at some point. You don't have to worry. They're going to play me off like the Oscars. What I want to do in the little bit of time that I have here today is to talk about what's going on in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm looking through this room and I see a lot of friendly faces here, a lot of people excited about what's going on in Newfoundland and Labrador when it comes to hydrogen and wind opportunities. My job here is to, again, give you just a quick summary and sort of update on where we have come in the last year. So, first of all, looking at the map here, you can see that we are strategically located. We are the most easterly point in all of Canada and North America. Proximity to key routes in Europe and North America, the United States, the Eastern Seaboard. The map shows, you can see here now, we are only 4,028 kilometers from Netherlands. We're actually closer to Europe than we are to British Columbia, where we are 5,000 kilometers away. And I don't think people truly realize how close we are to where we are right now. We are the last port en route to Europe. We are along major transcontinental shipping lanes, and we have many deep sea ice-free ports, some of that are represented here today, that are very eager to take part in the hydrogen economy. What I want to do next is talk about the competitive advantages that we have. So Newfoundland and Labrador, if you're not aware, we have an abundance of world-class resources. Wind, water, and land. We have amazing critical mineral reserves, all of what we need to support clean tech solutions as we transition to this global net zero world that we all want to be in. The darker the blue on this map that you're looking at right now, the greater the wind speed. We have some of the greatest wind resources in North America. An average wind speed of over 9 meters per second for onshore and offshore wind. Our wind speeds are optimal for generating electricity, and maximizing the capacity factors and the economics of these projects. Land, I cannot overstate the importance of this and how lucky we are. We have over 350,000 square kilometers of crown land, most of which is unpopulated. 29,000 kilometers of coastline, which is a huge opportunity when we move into the offshore wind development world. Among the highest freshwater runoff in Canada, eliminating the need for desalination. I want to move next into a clean energy center of excellence. So as outlined, we put a plan out 3 years ago, a renewable energy plan. We are committed to being the clean energy center of excellence. We already have a highly renewable grid. We are a net exporter of clean energy. Right now, we are over 90% renewable in our grid due to an amazing hydroelectric capacity. Our annual surplus energy exports are about 3.2 terawatt hours. Another 30 terawatt hours are being exported annually from the Upper Churchill Falls Hydro Station, and a contract that runs till about 2041. I don't know if anybody from Quebec is here. We'll have another conversation later, maybe offline. We'll have that. We're not going to talk a little publicly about it right now. But let's just say that the clock is ticking. We are very committed to accelerating growth in our tech sector as well to support this clean, this inclusive green energy growth. The biggest resource that we have, I talked about the land, I've talked about the water. The biggest resource that we have are the people, the skill set that we have in Newfoundland and Labrador. We are home to a population of very innovative, very skilled, and incredibly hardworking people. We're lucky here today to be joined by some of the trade unions from Newfoundland and Labrador, some of the representation here and leaders. We have a workforce that gets exported around the world for their skill set on any number of fronts. And we're very proud to have that. And the fact is that we're trying to do what we can to keep more of them home. Skill set in large construction, energy development, an offshore that if you can work in, you can work in anywhere else in the world. We have an offshore that, again, provides some harsh terrain, but if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere else. The other thing that we have is amazing post-secondary institutions. Our government continues. We invest in R&D capacity, whether it's our Memorial University, whether it's College of North Atlantic. We have actually Academy Canada that's here right now. We have a post-secondary institution world that is working with us to develop the skill sets that we need to move forward into these new opportunities. Now, next slide. Again, I'm looking at the clock. I got to tell you, it's really throwing me off here. I'm looking at the clock. I'm getting played off here. Tech sector. I don't think people realize that the tech sector in Newfoundland and Labrador, which contributes to these new opportunities, is one of the most amazing in the world. We're punching way above our weight. So when you look at our tech association, TechNL, we have over 200 tech companies, over 6,500 people, 1.6 billion annually. And the fact is that continues to grow. Verifin, financial crime-fighting software, the largest Canadian tech acquisition in the last 20 years, acquired by NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has a presence in Newfoundland and Labrador, and in fact, they continue to knock it out of the park, and they're providing inspiration to all the tech companies that are up and coming behind them. We have an amazing cadre of ocean tech companies that are supplying subsea solutions for clients in up to 40 countries: marine research, fishing, aquaculture, offshore energy, safety, security, you name it, we have it in Newfoundland and Labrador, and we continue to export that expertise around the world. Now, wind, hydrogen. So we were here last year, it was about a year ago we were here, and we were talking about where we were, and I'd like to say that we have made significant progress in this space in the last year. And what I would say is that we as a province have huge expectations and huge goals, but it's our private companies, our partners, that are making this happen. So in August of last year, just after we were here, we announced the results of our first call for bids for wind hydrogen projects. We had about 1.7 million hectares of land. And the goal of this process, and I'm looking out at some of our partners and our companies now, and I'd like to say diplomatically that we put them through the ringer. We put them through a very onerous, stringent process to ensure the greatest transparency. And the fact is that I think we hit the goal. I think we got what we wanted to do. We wanted to find proposals that were going to meet the global demands, and we had amazing criteria. And this is where I'm going to throw a little shout out here. We started off with a department that really didn't have anybody. And over the last 3 years, we've built a skill set that is second to none. I'm looking out at Susan. I'm looking out at Gordon. Anybody that's in this space right now knows the people that we have working, and I got to give them a shout out. John Cowantu, I don't want John to get upset. John Cowantu is an amazing human being. So what we did, we actually had several criteria: impact on the grid, community and Indigenous engagement, benefits to the province. We have to make sure that the province realizes that they are getting the greatest benefits from these projects. 4 companies got through this process and were granted the exclusive right to pursue development of the projects through our Crown Land application and our approval process, which also had a referral to the environmental assessment stage. ABO Wind is here. They're in the Isthmus region of the province on the Avalon Peninsula. Everwind in the Burin Peninsula. Exploits Valley Renewable Energy Corporation in central Newfoundland, and World Energy GH2 on the west coast. And it's very proud, as a person that comes from a rural background, it really makes me proud to see that these are projects that are in rural Newfoundland, in places that are generally underrepresented, and it's an amazing opportunity for our people. Outside of this call for bids, we actually had Pattern, Argentia Renewables, 100% owned affiliate of Pattern. They continue on, and they're moving forward also on private lands that are owned by the Port of Argentia, another big player in Newfoundland and Labrador. You can see on the map there right now, you can see the different locations of these projects. And these numbers, I think they say a lot. Total capital spend of $60 billion during construction, peak employment of 12,000 jobs, 35 to 40-year lifespan. We're looking at $205 billion in GDP and a treasury impact of $11 billion. And as I like to say to people, every province, every jurisdiction around this world faces challenges on the social side of things: housing, healthcare, homelessness. It's these projects that are bringing in the money that are going to help us to solve these problems. And again, I cannot overstate the importance of the return in treasury that help to fund these social challenges that we face. Just moving forward here now, our support. So we like to think that we are supportive of industry. We are, again, a global supplier of clean energy, and our tech sector has been a strategic priority. So over the last number of years, we've put a number of different policy agreements in place. November last year, Canada-EU Summit held in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. EU President, our Prime Minister were both there, and they made a commitment to a hydrogen roadmap that was going to develop, again, the green hydrogen market on both sides of the Atlantic. Our department continually travels everywhere throughout the world, whether it's OTC, offshore Europe, H2O, this summit itself. We have people everywhere trying to talk about Newfoundland and Labrador and what we have to offer. Now, the policy I mentioned earlier, December 21, we released our renewable energy plan, maximizing our renewable future, which was a 5-year economic development plan. And one of the parts of that is a virtual tool that I would encourage everybody to visit, is our Renewable Energy Resource Data Hub, which, again, the point of that is to supply companies with further detail on what we have in Newfoundland and Labrador. An important part to note is that we've recently had an MOU with the federal government when it comes to offshore, and we are working to develop our offshore wind resource as well. We've regulated our offshore renewables. We're expanding the mandate of our current offshore energy board. We're working on a regional assessment when it comes to wind development offshore. Now, hand in hand with this, and something we're very proud of also, is that in 2023, we actually released our critical minerals plan. And I don't think people understand what our mineral sector in Newfoundland and Labrador is providing to the world. We have over 9,000 people working and over $5.2 billion in mineral shipments coming out of our province. We lead the world in green, the best iron ore that exists. We're moving forward into lithium, and we have all the building blocks that we talk about when we move into this green transition. Funding. We have a 20% green technology tax credit to help businesses with specific capital costs when we're talking about equipment for energy conservation. We have a $100 million green transition fund that is supporting the energy transition and renewable initiatives. Just recently, just back before Christmas, we actually announced a $15 million investment in the Port of Argentia, a very important partner for us for a multi-tenant docking infrastructure project to support capitalization on their opportunities. And again, I cannot say it enough. We have multiple deep ice-free ports in our province with amazing workforces and leadership. They're ready for business. I'm looking at Cornerbrook right now. Agreements abroad. What I would say is this: we've made a number of strides in the last year. We have a letter of support from the Canada-German Hydrogen Alliance signed in Stephenville, Newfoundland and Labrador. We have a declaration of intent with the city of Hamburg on hydrogen just last year. And last year at this summit, we signed an MOU with the Port of Rotterdam to encourage the setting up of hydrogen supply chains. So we continue to make these international partnerships that are necessary in moving forward. Last year, we signed an MOU with Canada to take a regulatory lead on our offshore wind projects. Just in March, just 2 months ago, we announced an MOU for the advancement of the Canada-Germany Hydrogen Alliance. It's a first of its kind bilateral agreement where we're going to accelerate commercial scale hydrogen trade in our province. I swear to God, I'm getting to the end, I promise. Today, we've been talking about this a little bit. Today, I'm very pleased to launch our Newfoundland and Labrador Hydrogen Development Action Plan. It complements the renewable energy plan that I talked about earlier. It further advances us, Newfoundland and Labrador, as a supplier of green energy. This is the next step in enabling the development of the green hydrogen and ammonia development in Newfoundland and Labrador. We have a focused policy approach to hydrogen development, which will guide our initiatives that are either imminent or currently underway. Aligned with our plan, we have 4 pillars: export and domestic markets, partnership, innovation, and industry support, training and jobs, and a regulatory framework. And together with all of our partners, whether it's industry, stakeholders, you name it, and we pride ourselves on our partnerships, this will enable us to transition to the low carbon economy. It will create employment opportunities for our residents, and it will again further position Newfoundland and Labrador as the leader when it comes to green transition. On that note, as you can tell, we are moving very quickly, Newfoundland and Labrador, as we talk about hydrogen. It's a key focus for our province. Our Premier was just here 2 days ago, and I can tell you there's no bigger advocate for clean energy development than our Premier, Dr. Andrew Furey. He is absolutely a champion and someone who's friendly and familiar with many of the faces in this room. He believes in you and he supports you as well. We have the resources. We have the strategic location. We have the workforce. We have the tech sector. We have everything that is necessary to getting us to where we need to go. If you get a chance, we're at booth D96. We are not with the Canadian booth. Not with, and again, no problem with Canada, but we are awesome and we have our own stuff going on. So listen, come check us out. On that note, I want to thank you for listening to me and putting up with me for the last 15 minutes. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that we have a growing delegation here at this conference. Indigenous leaders, partners, supply and service side, communities, ports, government, everybody coming together because there are a number of wins to be had and we're going to share them all. On that note, thank you for listening to me. Take care.